Okay.
Step into the ring.
Yeah, anybody with like that kind of speed, once they get in, I find myself falling apart because I get pressured and I don't know what to do.
Pilots, or you play the matchup a lot, that wouldn't really even matter, because if they pressure you really quickly and you can't recognize situations quickly enough, and you have to mindfully pay attention all the time, it's really draining. It's really hard to keep up the reaction time, and also not lose too much stamina if it's like a tournament. It takes a lot of brain power to deliberately try to react to everything. So, but it looks of the notes you sent me, it kind of sounds like you don't like that you're autopiloting, but I would actually disagree. I think it's something you should strive for.
Okay.
But something you would rather want to do is to make your autopilot better, so you can handle these kind of things.
Okay, I can understand that. Yeah, I felt like I wasn't really reacting to how my opponent's playing, so I wasn't punishing them as optimally as I could.
Okay. That's a really good point. Because there's a big misconception regarding autopilot, that autopilot equals not reacting. But that's actually not true. When you put your hand on a hot stove, it's not like you're reacting, like paying attention and kind of thinking about how hot the stove is. You're automatically taking your arm off the stove. It's an automatic response, but it's still reacting, right? So that's kind of like the level you want to get to in Smash over time with experience. So the first level is to know that there's a problem. And I would say you're there, right? And the second level is to actively try to change it. And the final step would be to over-experience over time by doing the right thing deliberately, making it a part of your autopilot so you don't have to think about it anymore. Oh, there is the code. Nice. So are you streaming right now?
Yes, I have a couple people just stopping by, kind of see how training goes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I don't think any of them really play Link, but I still feel like
yeah, that doesn't really matter. Like, I help people who play different characters as well. For the most part, most of the same concepts apply. But of course, I am a Link main, so it's like easier to help other Link mains as well.
Yeah, that was what I was kind of hoping, is even just seeing either some mistakes I make or something, hopefully they can get something out of it too.
For sure. So I'm probably going to talk about some things while we're playing, and if you find it really distracting, you don't have to respond. It can be hard to talk while you play. I don't really mind it.
Okay.
So we could just play like 3 or 5 games just to get used to the Wi-Fi experience and how you play. Nice call out. Good tag. This is a hard one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of messed up how Link is one of the best characters at edgeguarding Link.
Ooh, nice.
It happens. Oh, nice. Ooh, good at it. I thought you would tech on a platform. Okay, there we go. Okay, good. Ooh, nice spacing. That's good. Ooh, good job. Mm-hmm. Let's call out. Mm-hmm. There's guard. Nice. One more. Oh, okay. Almost had it. Mm-hmm. Ooh, that was very clever. Using the bomb and also poking with the sword. I like the idea.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, that's
Good.
unfortunate.
Good facing.
Yeah, it barely hit your leg. It was like just barely. Almost slipped away. Yeah, don't worry too much about like messing up a little bit. There's gonna be some input delay, but it's gonna be good enough for teaching purposes. So just do what you can, try to make the best out of it, and I'll take some notes in the meantime so I can remember what is going on.
Okay.
Let's see. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
3, 2, 1, go!
Okay, that's good. Nice try. Mm-hmm. Ooh, punish. Okay, that's good. I think that's your bomb. Yeah. I'm very surprised I didn't. Link Nair is crazy. He needs it though. Oh, you had the right idea, but after. Even though he got punished there, I like that you were willing to go high. Like, you saw the situation and you figured out that something needs to be done to avoid my edge guard.
Yep.
Should be fine here. Ooh, okay. Can we go to grab too? That's crazy.
I can think I can shield that.
Should be fine here. Ooh, that was close. Good double jump. Ah! I think you were dead enough there. Close. It's a hard one to hit. Read the no DM. This kills? No. Nice. Really good walling. I like that. Good drift. Ooh, that's cool. Ah, you got me. Unfortunate. Yeah, it can be hard to tech sometimes. Don't worry about it. Good boomerang. Ooh, okay. You just got up in time. That was close, but you got it. Good space. Yeah, a bit too close. But yeah, you had some really good moments in there, like your spacing with your F-tilt and jabs.
Thank
It was really impressive. I like that. I feel like people really underestimate those moves. It can be really strong if used well, especially jab after the buffs, you know? Down tilt as well.
So I have a question for your kind of, since you play Link. Do you feel like it's ever beneficial to restrict yourself from like projectiles like boomerang or something to kind of refresh on some of your other tools?
It depends. Like, you probably mean in a sense where you kind of stop using projectiles to not rely on them as much.
Yeah, kind of. I do find
Yeah.
myself relying on boomerang a lot.
Yeah, I kind of agree with it to some extent. I feel like we could probably talk a little bit about it later, but it depends a little bit on the circumstance. I feel like in some circumstances you actually want to use projectiles, but you don't want to use them like mindlessly. You want to use them in a way that improves your normals, so it complements each other. Really good interception there. That's good. Careful. I like that you didn't roll away. Nice. Oh, you had it. Good improvisation. Oh, good roll. That was really clever. Oh, the boomerang saved you.
It does that a lot. It's definitely one of my best
Yeah.
friends.
Insurance plan, I had another student call it.
Oh yeah, even when it's unintentional.
It is. Exactly, yeah. Ooh, I like the timing, except that was good. Close. Careful.
Oh, my boomerang is on stage. Not my boomerang, my bomb.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
I have
which
no
bomb?
idea.
Which-
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that was mine. It's always a fun mini game. It's kind of funny since Diddy Kong's banana, you can see who is having which. It's like oddly specific that Link can't do the same thing.
You can? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's like a small, you see that icon below our tags when we're not moving or we're far away. The red triangle or the blue triangle.
Yeah.
That one is over the banana as well, if it's yours. Ooh, that's unlucky. Ooh, that was cool. Next. Close.
bear does be down
Fair
there.
enough. Yeah. Ooh, good. We almost took my jump. Oh, you tried in there, probably, didn't you?
Yeah.
I would have done it. I think I would have died. Ooh, interesting. Oh, I attacked that. Okay. You can see them there. I like that. Ooh, had it. One more try.
Oh, yours came
Yeah,
out
the same
right.
idea. Yeah. We'll talk about that in a sec. But we could actually get started. I have some notes already, and of course you sent me some notes as well.
Okay.
So yeah, you kind of wanted to start from square one, which is really interesting. So one thing I want to inform you about is, are you familiar with the term game plan? What
Yeah.
that means? Yeah. Basically like a really basic strategy for what you want to do in a game. It changes depending on matchups. It changes a little bit on players as well. Like some players at some skill levels, you have to play a little bit differently versus. But I would say, generally speaking, even against like every character, you can at least have like a one overarching simple game plan for what you need to do. So to start, you need to know what your strong options are. And what would you say like Link's strong options are in neutral?
I feel like
Place to start.
his strongest options are forcing approaches, kind of walling, and punishing how the opponent approaches or reacts to his boomerang or his bomb setups. And keeping pressure that way.
I love what you're saying, but you might be actually be one level deeper into this than what I'm actually thinking about. I'm actually thinking about like what are like the buttons you can press
Oh,
that are really strong for them.
like Nair.
Nair, right?
Yeah, Nair.
What kind of Nair is doing the most work in neutral, you would say?
Preferably hard Nair, but I mess that up a lot. Kind of fast fall,
hard
hard
is
Nair.
up there for sure. So when we talk about the options being strong, there are a couple of metrics you can use, and one way to think about it is like a three-piece of criteria you want to fulfill, and that is risk, reward, and success rate. So the risk of Nair is really small because it has almost no landing lag. Like landing like this is virtually the same as landing with a Nair. It's kind of silly. That's how it is. The hitbox is huge, hard to contest, making it pretty safe to throw at. Link also has really good fastfall speed, which makes it even safer, right?
Yeah.
Safer on shields, safer on hits, safer on whiff. And then there's reward. On the opposite side of the spectrum, Nair combos into grab almost all the time. 0 to 75-ish. And after that, it combos into tech chases you can kill people from. So it's actually really rewarding. Even though you don't do like the craziest combo like a Wario or a Kirby or a Luigi would, it's still, in terms of Link, it's like a really high reward option. And consistent or success rate is really high as well because the hitbox is so big and you can cover so much space. Like if you jump, I will hit you. If you press buttons on the ground, I will hit you. If you short hop, I will hit you. If you press shield, I might be able to hit you again because it's so hard to punish, right? So it's really easy to land because it covers so much space with low commitments. Lots of active frames, big hitbox. Really forgiving. So that is like the recipe for like a strong option, right? And the reason why I'm saying full up for the most part is because one, it's easier to combo, right? Because if I do, let's say, a Nair like this, it's kind of awkward to combo. You can spot dodge there because I'm not fast falling by the time I'm hitting you. So it's easier for you to escape my follow-ups. So you can try to spot dodge after my Nair hits and you should be able to. Yeah, you can shield there. So you can basically see that I would need to space it very specifically. Like I'll have to do like this. Then it will be a little bit easier, right? Because then I can hit it low to the ground. That's a true combo. But that's so specific. With a full up nair, you can mix it up in so many ways. So you've probably seen T play.
A little
Link
bit, yeah.
player. A little bit, yeah. So he's the
Unfortunately.
master of mixing up nair.
Yes,
So
I-
he's not like using so many options. He's like finding small variations in the strongest options to get the highest reward, and get around whatever he's up against. So now that you establish that nair is the way to go, full up nair is a good place to start. We can talk about how I can beat it. So when do you find yourself losing the battle when you're full up nairing?
A lot of the time, it's if there's some moves like I can't remember specific moves right now, but they'll essentially beat it out or contest it from a below or above before the hitbox connects sometimes, or some of the cast, like say a Byleth or something, they'll just dash back and then use their range to kind of catch where I'm landing.
Yeah, so you can get whiff punished and kind of stuffed out before the move comes out. I'll write that down. Whiff punish, stuffed out before the move comes
I know.
out.
I also find myself relying on it too much. So say somebody like a little Mac that has armor on some of their moves, I'll hit and then just get hit for hitting him, not, I guess, registering that that's not going to work in that situation.
Exactly, yeah. And another thing with Little Mac is that he has really good anti-airs, and not just because of its armor, by the way, just because they have good range, good reward. And he also has really good parry punishes. So he can parry your nair and F-tilt every time. It's really easy if he knows the timing. So how can you work around those things with a different strong option that you have, which is a bit different?
I would say probably Boomerang is the one I usually go to
That's
kind
a
of.
really good example, right? So the reason why Boomerang is so good in complements nair is because when people are recognizing that you're nairing and trying to parry you or just shielding the move in general, you have a timing mix-up at your disposal. And the timing mix-up is pretty safe as well. So if they happen to hold shield for a really long time, it's not the end of the world. It's like -7 on shield. Very few characters can punish it. A trick you can do as well, if you shield and try to shield grab me right now, you can even... oh, you actually grabbed me before I threw the boomerang. You can actually tilt your shield backwards, and it's like almost no character can grab you.
Oh, okay.
Like not even Pal. So that just goes to show like it's pretty safe, even if you guess wrong, if they're patient and you're shielding for a long time. The reason why I'm doing the boomerang there is because it has a different counterplay. Like to beat boomerang, you should normally intercept it. And that's really hard to do against nair because it's so big and active and it can be mixed up in full speed. But the weakness is that it's kind of obvious, right? So you probably saw that you got parried a few times, and when you get parried on Wi-Fi, that's also an indicator that something was kind of obvious in that situation, right? So it's really easy to parry the high nair because it's inevitable. Like the hitbox is gonna hit my shield just before you land, and that's gonna be the truth every time. Link doesn't have a landing hitbox, sadly, like BioLF and Pifra. But we have something else that is pretty good. So a timing mix-up I want you to get familiar with, and also drifts mix-up, we'll get to that later, is landing boomerang, right? So if I try to parry your nair, if you jump in and nair me right now. Okay, nice, that was the hard nair. Try to do the fast fall nair, like the normal that is easier to combo. Nice,
Just
one more
soft
time.
there.
Yeah, there. So it's not easy, it's not hard for me to parry. Like I can get it like feasibly most of the time if I know when you're drifting in and reacting to your fast fall. So what I want you to do is try to do the counterplay. The counterplay to my counterplay.
Okay.
Because my counterplay is waiting for you to swing. And I kind of know your timing on your nair, so now you need to show me something else that has unique counterplay. So I'm gonna write it down. Do you also know how to wave bounce, by the way?
Kind of, but I need more practice on it.
Okay. Because this complements boomerang really, really well. But it's not like completely necessary, but I would say it's if you want to practice something, that would be the one thing for neutral you will want to practice. But yeah, now I want you to follow up and landing boomerang on top of me. Almost. So you see there, I tried to parry a nair, but it doesn't show up. I would actually say I would recommend you to follow up because then it looks like you would nair me, right? So your intentions are kind of deceiving me in the sense that I'm expecting the nair. I'm seeing how high you are, and I release shield on reaction to your positioning. Oh, suddenly a timing mix-up.
Okay.
And then I also wanted to capitalize with a short up fair for the combo afterwards, right?
All right.
Okay, one more time. I tried to parry you, I mess up because you gave me something else I have to respect. So now you see how these two very simple options with great reward, like you push me to the corner of the stage, you deal like 30% in the process. That's awesome, right? So we also talked about having strong options and knowing what they are. What would you say like is the strongest Link situation? Do you have an example?
Like where he shines the most?
Yeah.
I would say probably his
Generally
edge
speaking.
guarding and edge trapping with
Exactly, right?
bomb in there.
That's where you get the kills, right?
Yeah.
Edge guarding. I'll write that down. Edge guarding. Ledge trap. Completely right. Hold up. So now you know where you're strong. You know what your strong options are that you can push me into these good situations. So what is my counterplay to the boomerang, you would say? What can I do against the boomerang? Because it's not perfect, right? It's not unbeatable. Do you think there is anything I can do about it?
I would say maybe a spot dodge if you could read that and time it right, and then up B out of that.
Yeah, I can actually up B out of shield. Link is an exception. He is the one of the few characters that can up B. It's like Cloud and Link and maybe a couple of more. It's pretty unusual. So, but generally speaking, I would say shield and maybe spot dodge is pretty hard to use because it's really timing specific, and your boomerang can be mixed up in quite a few ways, right? Because the boomerang comes out while you land. It doesn't have like a very strict, easy to react to timing to know when the hitbox is over or when it comes out. So I would say the weakness for boomerang is that I'm basically just swinging, right? I'm literally just jumping in and nairing you. So if you try to boomerang me right now, I can get lucky and just throw out the move and stuff you out in the process.
Okay.
So now you need a counterplay to that, right?
Yeah.
So landing boomerang.
Oh, are you talking about the
timing
startup?
mix- Yeah, because the startup is the weakness of boomerang, right? It also loses to every aerial, pretty much. It's a strong projectile, but the way this game works is that as long as your move deals 9% less or more than the projectile, it will beat it. So boomerang does like 10 or 12. So as long as your aerial literally does like more than 3%, you should be fine. So let's see. Timing mix-up, weakness in startup. So now we need a plan how to deal with that, right? How do you deal with people who can literally just swing and get lucky at you? Because now you have a new situation, right? Now you have me swinging. You're kind of flipping the table. So remember how Nair was kind of vulnerable to whiff punishes and parries, covering the next option, etc. Now you can use that strategy against me. So if you're anticipating me to anticipating me that I'm anticipating you to jump in, you can set up a short up retreating forward air, for example, get ready to parry, or cover my next option. Let's say with another Nair.
Okay.
For Link, a lot of this is going to come back to Nair. It's just because it's his best move. It's nothing wrong about that at all. But you could try it. Try to, let's say, put it like this. See me dash and then do a short up retreating fair, if you're
Okay.
familiar with how you're doing it. And
It's
that's still pretty good. One more time. React to my dash first so you can place it, almost. It's easier to position if you do it with a short up because then you're keeping the hitbox in a really good place for a long time. Almost. There we go. If you do that slightly retreating, I won't be able to hit you either. So the way you do it is like this jump, and then I use the stick forward immediately afterwards. You can do whatever you find comfortable. Nice. Beautiful, beautiful. So now we have a counter to me aggressing, which would normally beat Boomerang. So now it's kind of going full circle. And for me to get around this, I would have to throw a projectile or get kind of under you instead, right? And that's when Nair is getting strong again. So this is what you want to happen. You want to have like a full circle where your strong option starts, they have a counterplay, you have another almost as strong option that you can complement the weaknesses of the first option, and then you come back to the first one again to beat their counterplay. That's what you want. If you end up somewhere else, then you probably misjudged what your strongest option was in the first place.
Okay.
The reason why this is so important is because if you don't know what you want, it can be really hard for you to have a plan for what you want to land in a game. If you're running around and jabbing and dash grabbing in neutral, it's going to be really hard for you because it's going to be harder to hit, and you might be confused as to why it doesn't work. In this game, some characters are crazy, like they can kill you with one opening. So having really strong options that would be consistent or at least give you good reward is very important to keep up, because Link isn't really like a punish game character like Falcon, right? Or Luigi. You don't get that grab and just kill them. You need to get the damage you can get and get them in poor situations where you can take advantage of them. So yeah, we have like a really basic overview of what works against what in neutral. It's really bare bones, I'm gonna say. So I'm gonna write it down. Walling / anti-air / parry. And then that's weak to people setting up projectiles, like we talked about. And then you have your full up Nair becoming strong. Thank you for SDing, by the way. Clutch. So now we can talk about how this applies in game, because there's more to this than you might realize. And since we're starting from scratch, from square one, I want you to get familiar with some really important concepts. And you will not be able to really take advantage of any of the things we have talked about if you're not fulfilling these requirements. So the first step is setting up and finding opportunities, right? The thing with Smash is that it's really a fast-paced game. It's not like Melee, but it's still so fast to the point where it's not like chess. It's not like I'm gonna choose this move and you're gonna react and choose the perfect counter. There is no time. You have to preemptively make some judgments for what you want to do, to counter things preemptively. So the first step to doing that is having a good positioning. So generally speaking, I would say Link is strong in the mid-range. We talked about Link being strong when you have people in the corner. Link is also strong when he has people at a small distance, because then he can use his range to his advantage. He can also manage other people having burst options and have an easier time weaving around them. If you're next to a Ken player like this, you're probably gonna lose, right? Because he has way better options up close. If you're super far away against a character that really thrives off distance, either to throw superior projectiles at you or to charge a really useful resource like Charge Shot or Steve's Mining, you're also doing a mistake. You want to be, I would say, around this range. I call this roll distance, right? Slightly closer, slightly farther away, depends on the matchup or what you want. So that's the positioning. And it's completely fine to leave this positioning, but do it briefly. So don't go this far and then pull a bomb and stay here, because then they will just close the gap and now you're in the corner for no reason. For the same reason, don't go in here and just stay here indefinitely unless there's something specifically you're looking for. But it's perfectly fine to pretend to go in and go back again, or dash back to, let's say, anticipate a dash attack to get out of the way, or a dash grab, and then whiff punish them. Completely fine to kind of revolve your positioning around this distance where you're strong. So, and the next thing is timing your opportunities on reaction or anticipation of something I would call frame advantage, right? Do you know what that means?
Yeah, just the frames that you have. let you act before your opponent after a move.
Exactly. So, people usually talk about it when they're talking about hitting shield, like I'm -7 on shield. That's like I have -7 frames of, or I'm in a 7-frame disadvantage, right? If I'm hitting your shield with my forwarder. That's the way to put it, but it actually goes way deeper than that. So if I'm whiffing my F tilt, I'm not hitting your shield, but I'm giving you frame advantage. You can react to me whiffing that F tilt, and you can actually take advantage of that. So the problem with neutral, and I think the problem you had, you probably realized in the end, you tried to forward air me, and I got lucky, and I just threw out the forward air slightly before you. So then you might say, oh, I should have forward air earlier, right? I would not say that's the way to go, because then it's just a gamble, right? Am I going to throw out the forward air a little bit earlier than you? Am I going to wait for your forward air? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't want to get to the point where it's all about guessing, because you can only get so good at guessing. You can't. Nobody is like a perfect guesser. That's what I'm trying to say. You could pick your spots a lot more carefully. So I'm going to show you an example. Try to jump in and nair me right now. Okay, I try to read you. I read your timing. Try to do it a full hop. You see?
Yeah.
So when I'm actionable, I can get lucky. I could just throw out the hitbox and win. So I wouldn't say like I read you, I just got lucky. So how can you avoid this luck? That would be to try to find a situation where you have slight frame advantage, right? So now I'm gonna whiff my F tilt, and I want you to react and set up your full up nair, just like before, okay?
Okay.
So you see, I try to intercept you there, but I don't have time. Like I literally don't have enough time to do anything about your nair. You see what I mean?
Okay.
So you're reacting to me whiffing a move and setting up a good situation based upon that. Basically eliminating the possibility of you getting unlucky, of you getting hit by like a random forward air by the opponents, right? So this is very important, because now you don't have to guess anymore. You're eliminating like at least half the risk. You talked about nair having a weakness and kind of getting stuffed out before the hitbox came out. This is no longer an issue, right? Like maybe I can parry you still, but it's going to be really hard, because I'm going to go straight out of end lag into like a state where I have to see what you're doing and then parry you. That's super difficult to do. It's way more stressful for the opponent to handle. So let's play a little bit normally, okay? And I want you to play really passive and try to be actionable around this range. It's fine to dash back every now and then, jump back, but try to go back in again.
Okay.
Or the opposite. Try to get back into this range. And I'm gonna whiff some moves sometimes. I'm gonna whiff some F tilts or some fairs, some jabs. And I want you to set up your full up nair on reaction to those opportunities. Not necessarily to get a true whiff punish, but to set up your pressure for free. Because I can't intercept you. All right? Awesome. Right? That's fine. It's fine to get grabbed there. Okay, nice. So here comes a swing. Almost. Swing. Swing. Now you can get in. So you'll probably notice that you sometimes space in a way that gets you grabbed. I would say that that's like the first thing you want to avoid. Link's grab is also really small, so it's not super hard to do. So I'll actually just show you one nair I want you to get familiar with, and that is this one. So if you shield right now, you see something different happen this time, right?
Yeah, you crossed me
I
out.
did the same nair. Yep. So this is something we jokingly called in the Link Discord for the Goku nair, just because there's a guy who called like, I don't know, like this loop for like the Saiyan loop or whatever. You can't even do them on Wi-Fi. So we called it the Goku nair. It doesn't even matter what you call it, but what it does is that it's higher reward when it hits, because it knocks you forward, which is easier to combo, right? Because you're closer to the opponent. And it's also safer because you cross up. They can't grab you. Of course, they can turn and grab you, but then you make them take a risk. That's a win for you. So I want you to try it. Try to hit my forehead with your knee hitbox like this.
Okay.
And you don't need to fast fall. I just want you to get familiar with the spacing. Oh no, that was a bit too far. You want to knock me forwards on hit, but cross me up if I shield. It's kind of weird to visualize, but to put it this way, you want to kind of have forwards momentum and hit me with the knee hitbox, like below your hind leg, while you're drifting into me. Pretty much hit my forehead with a knee. I think that's a good way to put it, right? And this is pretty important because I feel like you're understanding when you're going in and what range to do it from, but you're kind of not having like the execution quite ready to make your approach safe when it actually hits. But this is actually super important. All right, let's try a little bit more. Try to full up in air and go just barely behind me if I shield. So that's quite a distance. So we can actually start with something a little bit simpler. Try to jump in place and then drift forwards like that. There I got the spacing. One more time. Perfect. You got it first try. One more try. One more time. Pretty good. So now you're doing it without fast fall, and that's a bit easier, but I want you to keep doing it a little bit. One more time. Perfect. That was perfect. And now try to add a fast fall just before you land. Okay? Just to make it safer. But try to still have the same distance. So you can fast fall super late like you did like this, and then suddenly fast fall. If you stand still and shield, I can show it how it looks. Like that. So I did the same thing like you did. I just fast fell just before I hit your shield. Okay?
Okay.
You can try to do the same to me. Oh, that is cool. That can also work, but I recommend Nair is easier to work with. Really close. One more try. There you go. One more time.
Oh.
Pretty close. Ooh, close. Because there's another thing about this, that it really looks like a can grab you, right? Like, yeah, there you got it there. I dropped my shield. Okay, one more time. Final time. 3 in a row. Oh, so close. Okay, one more. A little bit too much. One more time. This is actually something you can practice in training mode. I don't know if you have the training mode pack.
No.
Okay, you don't actually need it, but you can kind of visualize how it looks. So I'm gonna show you, like, if you're gonna look back at the stream, this is how you want it to look. Like this. Oh, I got some leg spikes. Like this. So it knocks forwards on hits, like normal, and if you shield, it will look like this. I'll go behind you. And you can see it there. Now it would shield poke you probably. But that's basically how it looks. And you want to get familiar with how you can do this from different ranges. We talked about the easiest one. When you're kind of close, you don't have to manage your drift as much. If you're doing it from this range, you have to do like a small dash first, you see? And this is super important. You might not realize, because when I'm doing this, I can do this nair, but I go behind you. I can also do this nair where I'm spacing in front of you. I can also do this. I can also do this. You see how many things I'm threatening you with, right? Let's compare that to a spaced nair, like super tipper nair. If you shield, I can only hit you like this. I can't go behind you. So it's very easy for the opponent to parry and, let's say, get a jab or whatever. Or outrange me by walking back ever so slightly. You talked about the buy left player kind of whiff punishing you with like dash back F tilt or whatever. This is what happens when you're spacing with the tip of the foot. Usually in Smash, spacing is good, but it doesn't mean hitting with the tip of things all the time. It can mean like these slight cross-ups. And the good thing about this slight cross-up is that you still have access to the tipper, like I did there. I changed my mind in the air. This time, I'm going behind you. So you're way more ambiguous to the point where the opponent doesn't really know what you're going to go for. And you can also use the timing mixes we talked about, the tomahawk, the double jump feints, and then go for the aggression. Like, you have so many mix-ups, but it's really important to space them right. So it's perfectly fine if you mess it up a little bit. This is something you can grind in training mode, but we're going to do the same thing we did just before. We're going to play normally, but I want you to be actionable, or as actionable as possible at this range. Try to wait for me to swing first, and then jump in, okay? And if you can get the nair we talked about, that's great. That will be awesome, but it's not the end of the road if you miss, okay?
All right.
Sounds good. So I wait here, giving you opportunity. Awesome, that is good. Keep it up. It's fine. Sometimes you get grabbed. Okay, careful. Let me swing first, otherwise you might get hit. And you don't need to shield, by the way. You're completely fine. When you're at this range, the distance is your shield. If you're shielding, you're limiting your options. You can't move on the ground. You have to roll or jump out and let go of shield, which is slow. So unless you're looking for something really specific, or you have to protect yourselves with shield specifically, I would not shield at all. Okay. Try to move. Try to maintain this range, and look at me when I'm moving, when I'm swinging. So here I'm whiffing. Nice. Really good timing. You didn't get the spacing because you were busy moving around. So try to not do too much dashes. Try to do only one. Reposition one more. Jump into a new place. See what's going on all the time, so you can always change your mind. Oh, that was perfect. You had it there. Almost. Try to do the nair as well. Okay. A bit too close. I'm missing. Set up. Ooh, you had it. So you can try to press the nair as well, just to get familiar with it.
Okay.
Close.
Still shielding a lot.
So there you try to set up while I was not finished with my move, and that can happen, so you have to be a little careful. Nice. So there you also caught me trying to escape shield, so even though you don't punish me with a true punish, you also... I like that. That's what the next level is going to be about. I just want you to get familiar with finding these opportunities first. Okay. Try to wait for me to swing. Almost. If I rolled, it might have worked. Okay. So I swing here, set up. Okay. Okay, that was good. So I swing, now you attack. Swing, attack. Almost. So try to pretty much just look for my jumps. Like if I jump or press a tilt, think about that as a green light for you to jump in. Okay? So try to always be ready to jump in if I press a button. Okay, good. Good jump timing, but you want to get the drift we talked about as well. Oh, you had it. That was perfect. If you got the fast fall, it would have been the perfect nair right there. Okay, one more time. I swing. Awesome. That was perfect execution. Okay, one more time. Oh, that was really good. You didn't get the right spacing, but the timing was awesome. Okay, good timing. Close. Okay, one more time. You got it. Okay, I got it. That's still pretty good. You can do it with a short up too. It's just more flexible with a full hop, because you can also avoid some grounded pressure when you're full hopping. You've probably experienced short hopping and then you just get like randomly hit by tilts or jabs or other short hop aerials. But if you're full hopping, you can kind of be in a different airspace where you can whiff punish people for short hopping or whiffing moves on the ground. So that's also another reason why it's superior most of the time. So I feel like you're understanding it. Do you agree? Like why it's good?
Yeah,
And how you're doing it?
I definitely need more practice on it, and I feel like I'm a little slow when reacting to you whipping a move.
Yeah, it's tough. So you want to keep it super simple. Like I'm saying it's fine if you fuck up the spacing. I would say like just reacting and trying to be actionable and looking at the opponent is the best progress moving forwards. And then once you're comfortable doing that, then you can like try to really look for the right spacing, right? Fine tune it. What I do when I'm drifting in the air, I'm kind of like changing my drift on the go. So I'm not like deciding here what I'm going to do 1 second in the future. I'm always changing it. And sometimes I back off because I realize my spacing is probably going to be whack and I'm probably not going to get the right spacing I want. So to put it this way, you don't have to play every situation. A situation could be like rock, paper, scissors. Like you don't have to play rock, paper, scissors all the time because you can lose. And if you feel like your rock is inferior, like it's gonna lose to their scissors and paper, it's suddenly not worth anymore. And you can back off either by just drifting away, double jumping away, way bouncing away, which is something I definitely recommend you to look into because we talked about the options having unique counterplay. Nair can do this, right? If you up tilt on reaction to my full hop, you should be able to hit me. Yeah, and this is on Wi-Fi. But if you do it again, you see something different, right? So it's a counter to anti-airs on reaction as well. So it really complements your full up aggression. So I would say this is essential for Link, to be honest. you already seem to be a little bit familiar with bomb recovery, which is good. So I would say the next step for you would be to look into wave bounces. And I can send you a video later if you want to on how that works.
I mean, I'm familiar with it. I need more practice on it.
What method do you use?
I use just the control stick and B. I just flip it back and forward. But it's a lot harder.
I used to do that all the time too, and I actually recommend. What controller do you have, by the way?
GameCube. That's what I use.
GameCube. I use GameCube as well. It can be a little bit more difficult than GameCube, but it should be fine unless you have like jump or something else on your triggers. Do you only have shield on R and
No, I have
L?
I have jump on L, shield on R, and then X and Y are jump as well. But I never use Y.
Okay, I see. Yeah, it kind of necessitates having a special available to put on your one of your triggers. So if your triggers are already occupied, that's completely fine. Then you can do it the other way. Like I did it the normal way there with just my stick and B. It's perfectly doable. Cylinder does that as well. It works fine for him.
Yeah, I've seen.
But I would say it's super important.
I've seen him do that thing on the. I wanted to try to incorporate on the ledge there, where he gets up and wave bounces, but I can never get the.
You probably mean like that wave bounce from ledge.
Yeah, I can never get the timing right.
I don't know if I can get it. Probably not. You probably mean like from ledge hang, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this one is super easy with my control schemes. I never mess this up, but it sucks if you miss, of course. And you can also do like this, which is kind of cool, but it's not like as valuable, I would say.
Yeah.
At least you could save your jump with the bomb recovery one. But this is like the flashy stuff. The useful stuff is when you're faking out the opponent, pretending to nair them, and then you wave bounce back, baiting anti-airs, also messing up their timing if you're trying to parry you. So it's super valuable.
You said you have a special on your left trigger?
On my right trigger, actually.
Okay.
So I'd be there. So I'm pressing B or R, and then also using the control stick for the turnaround, or for my B reverse, and also the C stick for the reverse. So I'm doing everything in one motion. I'm not like flicking a stick back and forth or anything.
So you're flicking the C stick
probably
forward?
hard to visualize.
So you're jumping?
I jump forwards, control stick back when I'm moving forwards, and then C stick forward and B, or R in my case.
Okay.
It sounds confusing, but it works because the C stick is a macro. Like it controls the control stick plus
And
A.
does that matter if that's set on tilt or smash, or is it just...
It doesn't really matter in like this sense, but it can make you get smash boomerangs in some scenarios if you're like doing it frame perfectly like that. I did a frame perfect C stick plus special, and I get the tilt boomerang. Now I press B too early, and I get the tilt boomerang. So if I had smash stick, I would get a smash boomerang in that case, but it's really not an issue you need to worry about. I would say tilt stick is still better though. I assume you have tilt stick.
Yeah, I tilt stick on.
Yeah. Okay. A small detour, but basically what we're talking about is 1, have a good positioning. 2, try to be actionable or as actionable as possible. Basically avoid like double jumping around, getting stuck in shield, getting stuck in lag, dashing excessively to the point where you can't really do anything. Like if I'm doing this, I can't shield at all when I'm doing this. So I'm really vulnerable when I do it. So try to move with intent, and also look at the opponents. Use your peripheral vision if you can to look at your own character. And then lastly, try to look for these openings where people swing or give you an opportunity to jump in on them.
Okay.
So you don't have to guess and get unlucky.
Side question real quick. So
Yeah.
a lot of the time when I'm dashing back and I dash like that, I don't want to dash back. I'm wanting to turn around, and could I just throw C stick out instead? Because I'm just trying to reposition and then jab or something, but I end up dashing back forward again.
It's a very common issue, and I can show you a trick that I use a lot of the time. So you don't have tap jump, right?
No.
Okay, so what you can do is dash, and then you tap like 1 o'clock or 11 o'clock on your control stick, and you get the turnaround. Or you could just tap like 1 o'clock and 11 o'clock back and forth. Just wiggle your stick like this. It's impossible to dash by accident. You see what I mean? because the angle is not horizontal enough. It's too vertical or too short in horizontal space. So this is a way to get turnarounds without ever having to worry about getting unnecessary dashes. It's really good with any character, especially characters with like really long dashes, like Falcon and Zero Suit. They go like way too far if you mess up. But again, Link, you don't want to mess up either. Okay.
Okay.
So I would dash, and then let's say you dash by holding 3 o'clock, then I will tap 11 o'clock afterwards to do the turnaround. And then you can do the jab or F tilt or down tilt or just shield or move back in again. Completely up to you.
Okay.
It helps a lot with the consistency. Especially when you're nervous, your hands are sweaty, and the match is really intense. It's really easy to flick your stick a little bit harder than you initially thought.
Yeah. Dude, honestly, I don't know if I'm right or not, but I feel like I get too caught up in my inputs and I either do it too fast where it's not smooth enough, or it doesn't register. So like sometimes instead of say a fast fall nair, it'll be a fast fall down or just down there.
Oh yeah. So what we're talking about now is pretty much execution. So what I would do is literally go in training mode and try to do these sequences that you try to work on. So we talked about like getting like this nair. We talked about. I would try to do that from a short hop, from a full hop, from this range, from dash range, from roll range, and then from far range, with a full double jump, like from a platform. Try to get familiar with like every variation. So when you're entering a battle, that was perfect, by the way. When you're getting into a battle, there's like nothing that is new to you. Like you're very familiar with the situation. You talked about getting overwhelmed against some players playing fast. There's no time to hesitate against good players who take advantage of time and space. So having your execution on lock, at least the most important things that like would dictate your neutral, is super important. So what did we talk about? Yeah, we talked about finding your opportunities, right? So what comes after you do this nair? So if it hits, it combos obviously, right? Combos really well. Let's compare that to a spaced nair. Try to spot dodge after my nair hits. That was actually before. That's kind of sick. I think you can spot dodge that grab. But I'm basically saying if I space my nair, yeah, it's harder for me to get a grab or a follow-up in general because I'm farther away from you. So this is the nair to aim for, generally speaking. So that's your goal. But what do you do if they shield? Do you know what could happen? What do you think happens if I shield your nair?
Most of the time, usually I expect an up B out of shield or a grab. If they do grab and they miss, I might, depending on the character, probably try to do a back air.
Yeah, I like your thinking there. Back air can definitely miss on a bunch of characters, so I would actually disagree with a back air. I think you need something that is more consistent because now you just want to have like super simple, strong options that just works. So you don't have to think about, oh, is this does this grab low profile if they do it this way? Does this work in this matchup? So you don't have to think about those things. It just straight up works.
Okay.
So let's put it like this. You do a cross up there, and they try to up out shield you because they might think they can. And they might try to grab you as well because it kind of looks like you're going to land in front of them, right? It looks kind of deceiving. So I want you to be like shielding to protect yourself just in case they up B, right?
Okay.
And then as soon as you see them dropping shield, let go, you as well, and then reverse up B them if they overextend with a grab or a bad out of shield option, right? Okay, so this is the sequence. Having the good spacing like this, reacting to my whiff, setting up the nair behind me, and then waiting for my swing, like my bad grab or my up B.
Okay.
Okay? And then up B.
Yeah.
And you got to roll there. It's super crucial that you let go of your control or your trigger. I recommend actually holding it really softly, so you don't have to like do like a big motion to let go. The weird thing is in Smash is that you only have to hold the shield like 50% on GameCube controllers to make it register. So you don't need to hold it more than that. Then it's easier to let go, and then it's way easier to do reverse up B without doing rolls by accident. This is also something you want to practice in training mode to the point where it's impossible to mess up. Because this is what's going to win you games, or going to make you lose games. If you mess up on up B, you'll probably die.
Yeah.
if they have a good F smash, right? You can get Falcon Punch out of shield. You know that?
I actually didn't know that.
It's kind
one.
of ridiculous. Yeah. So you don't want to let that be you. You don't want to let that happen. But yeah, let's try that one more time, okay? I think you're able to shield there. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
I didn't press it fast enough.
Okay, yeah, I could just buffer it after you hit my shield. Awesome. Super good. So, it will probably be optimal to do an F smash after this, but for now, I recommend just having a simple answer. Okay, that's fine. One more time. Then defend and counterattack. Okay. Now I'm gonna grab, so now we have to react a little bit more carefully. Now we have a little bit less time. So you see, there's not too much time. It's still very laggy. You can definitely do it still online, but you have to be like super primed for it. So you're basically preparing yourself as soon as you see that I'm shielding, that you have to be ready for the grab. Okay, the back here is fine.
Yeah, that was.
But it will miss on a bunch of characters, and it might not even kill when you could have killed me. Okay. Almost. Try to let go once you think, oh no, I'm gonna let go of my shield. That's perfect. Now we're talking. Didn't get it. It's hard to do that with a wrong drift. Okay, one more time. You're doing really well. Defend and counterattack. You have a lot of time left, I think. A grab. So remember to let go of your trigger before you try to up B. It's also really important that you get to reverse up B because it's faster if you reverse it. Like it's faster in front of you.
I think I need it. There we go.
Okay. There you go. Perfect. Nice. So you pretty much got it. Now you know how it feels to do it with your fingers, how it looks. So what else could happen here? What else could I do? Like I could try to up B and grab you. What else could happen?
Honestly, you could just disengage.
I can disengage, yeah. So if I disengage, what do you do?
Depending on your option, maybe try to follow up with. If you jump, let's see. If you jump, I think the best option might be to try to throw a boomerang to follow it up.
Okay, you can try. Let's try it. Okay.
All right.
Same thing as before. I disengage. And I get out. One more time. It's a bit of a trick question because there is not like anything concrete you can do. So the best thing you can do is to at least get control of your situation as soon as possible. So what I mean by control is that you want to let go of shield because there's no point in staying in shield when they're literally outside of harm's way. They can't hit you. So you're actionable again. You can move. Maybe they're in the corner as well. What's a good example? If you would have crossed me up here and I disengaged over here, if you can dash in and take the stage control for free, right? So you can win on interactions without actually pressing buttons or actually hitting buttons, I should say. So a very important part about this, about neutral and having a plan is usually you would want to settle for smaller victories. Like you don't have to land smash attacks in neutral. You can rather try to land combo starters, and you don't even have to land the combo starters sometimes. Sometimes you just want stage control. And sometimes you don't even want that because that might be risky. And you would rather want to have a good situation where you can set up a landing aerial. Which brings me to the next point. There is 3 main forms of attacks in Smash and fighting games. And the first one is the good old interception, the dash grab, right? The dash rising there, the burst option, right? Link's dash attack doesn't qualify for some reason. His dash attack is really slow.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, but you have something else, like you can roar back here, you can dash there, you can dash grab, you can even dash up B. It's just this reward is kind of iffy sometimes. You have to know that it's gonna work. Practically dash or a smash thrown bomb is a burst option. I know that you have used it a little bit against me. That's the burst option, right? Interception. So the motto behind the burst options, the interceptions, is that they have a really good presence. Like they're really strong in the moment. Like they're gonna hit you. They're gonna be unreactable. They might even be combo starters sometimes. But they have a weakness. And what do you think the weakness of these options that I talked about are? Like doing
you do them
rising there.
predictably. You're in a lot of. I'd find usually
lag,
get punished.
right? Yeah, so moves are usually skewed in a way that make, if they're really fast in startup, they usually have more end lag, right? And rising aerials by nature is like this all the time because you're going to spend the majority of your airtime after the hitbox is over or after hit your shield. There are some exceptions like Byleth Rising Air because it's still good when you're falling with it. You get the landing hitbox, right? Multi-hits kind of break that rule as well, but it still applies to some extent. So that's the weakness. And then on the other hand, you have setup, which is a little bit different, right? Setup would be like a landing aerial, right? It doesn't have much lag, as you can see. It's really good because I can set up a combo. It's safer on shield. I could also pull projectiles. Would also be a way to set up. Like now I have bomb pressuring you underneath. That's a setup, right? So that usually takes time to do. So the motto for setup is I'm willing to sacrifice my present for a better future. So I'm gonna spend some time in the air to get a good landing aerial. I'm gonna spend some time holding a bomb to have a bomb under your legs. This is really important against Mac. We're probably gonna get back to that later. But what is the weakness about doing this? Like landing aerials like this? Like low aerials, and projectile pulse. What do you think beats this strategy?
I would say maybe somebody who rushes down. Well, for bombs specifically, the in lag on pulling it. Somebody's rushing down. I know I get hit a lot during animation for pulling.
Exactly, right? So it loses to people intercepting you. Like people being fast in the moment, putting out an active hitbox while you're just trying to set up. It requires time. So it loses to people who abuse the stat. So that's very good. And there is one more, which kind of breaks the triangle. But it's the final thing, and that is waiting. Literally just waiting. So we talked about how valuable waiting is to find opportunities, right? Waiting is literally just being actionable. It doesn't have to be literally standing still. It could be just moving around with little commitment, like a dash into another dash, an empty hop, jump into jump, jump in, dash back, like really non-committal sequences to the point, or just waiting in shield sometimes if you have a good outer shield like Link has, right? It's basically the counterplay to interception, because if you just throw out random dash attacks, my shield is gonna win. If I'm positioning myself outside of your range and waiting for you to swing, I'm gonna win as well. I could just whiff punish you. You're gonna have a lot of lag. But what do you think this loses to? People waiting. Do you have an idea? It's
I'm trying to think
the
of
final part.
how I've gotten punished. Honestly, first option sometimes depending on the range. If it's unreactable.
Yeah, it can happen, yeah, for sure.
I would say a lot of the time, if I wait like that, more players tend to focus on setting up traps and then taking stage control, and I'm kind of, over time, I get stuck in the corner, and now I have to get out.
Yeah, it's a limited resource. Like, dashback is like the waiting option. Because you can get out of their range. You can just disengage from the situation, but you can only do it so many times. Boom, I'm going off stage if I dash back anymore. And if you play against characters with good setups, like Steve and Samus, like good projectiles or heroes buffs, or really oppressive landing aerials, like Fox and Ike, you're just gonna get stuck in place. You can't move, right? You're gonna get suffocated. So that's the weakness, people setting up. So that's the triangle. Interception beats setup, setup beats waiting, waiting beats interception. So how does this relate to like neutral and shield pressure? Finding your spots, I recommend using waiting, because most players, they will take the initiative. They will swing first. They will try to hit you, or they'll try to keep you away. And that's why waiting is so good, because then you can set up on reaction to their whiff. You're taking advantage of the frame advantage, right? And if you hit their shield, the positions are kind of swapped, but I can still set up back on you again. So if you try to do the full up nair onto me after I whiff, like we talked about, something good players often do is this, right? I'm kind of reversing the situation. Now I'm putting pressure on you. So if you press bad buttons or panic under the pressure, you'll get hit. And otherwise, I'll space my aerial perfectly because you have to respect my up B out of shield, which gives me an opportunity to set up whatever I want. Right? So we're going to talk about how you can react and punish those options. So it's going to look kind of silly, but what I want you to do is to shield after you hit my shield, but then try to intercept my jump as soon as possible. You can do it preemptively, but I recommend try to react. I don't know if you play offline. Have you ever seen?
I haven't in a while. I haven't. Most of the tournaments just I can't make it because of work.
Yeah. It can be difficult online, but it's still valuable. Like I would say mostly against floatier characters. Like DDD is like a really notorious like setup character. He can kind of hover in the air above you and kind of wait for a mistake and then fall on top of you with an air. Kind of like Link does, but he can stall in the air for a long time. So intercepting is super crucial. You could do it on reaction if you're waiting for it.
Okay.
If you're prepared. In the same way you would be prepared to up B my whiffed grab or up B, right? You could be prepared to wait for a jump. So I'm gonna show you how it works. And Link is pretty good at this. He has pretty good aerials for interception. Like there's like a big misconception that Link's aerials are really slow and bad, but his like kicks are really good. Like frame 7 there, frame 6 back here. Not bad at all. So yeah, what you're gonna do, you're gonna hit my shield. I'm gonna try to set up a full up there back on you, but I want you to cut me to the chase and then intercept me before I get the
Do
opportunity.
you want
to
me
do that.
to cross up or just land in front of you?
The first nair would be a cross up would be the best, but it's up to you.
Okay. Oh,
Remember to let me swing first so you don't get unlucky. Almost. You have to do a full up interception pretty quickly. So I like that you're shielding briefly, but you only need to shield briefly because if I'm gonna hit you out of shield, I'm probably gonna do it immediately, right? It's very rare that people like delay their up out shield. Like some people do, but it's so rare and so specific, and it's gonna lose to so many other things that it's something you, generally speaking, don't need to respect. Almost. That kind of worked, but if you do a full hop, it's gonna be even better. Oh, I hit you. I think you just read my timing and got unlucky. One more time. Almost. You could do a full up there if it's easier for you.
okay.
Almost. Okay. Almost. There you go. Oh, actually, she popped me. That was still good. Okay, one more time. Intercept me. So you want to try to do a full up. It gives you more control. And if I short up, you're still gonna win. So you don't need to like hit my short up from the side. You can hit my short up from above, and it's even easier. So the full hop is really crucial.
All right.
Okay, ready?
I keep
Almost.
doing the.
It's fine. It's fine. You got it. Okay, ready? Okay, that's fine. You could actually just try to do it like pretend I'm there. Something I call shadow boxing, and it's a very common strategy used when you're practicing in almost any skill. Like I do it in music as well. I'm kind of visualizing a situation in my head, and then I try to kind of play along with it. So I'm kind of visualizing a shield in front of me, and crossing it up, and then I intercept with a full up bear if I think they're gonna jump.
Okay.
So you can try to do that this sequence yourself. Like jump, nair, shield, jump attack. Almost. Yeah, try to separate the jump and A input ever so slightly. That was good. You got it there. Just like the first one. Like there's no rush. You don't have to do it like frame perfectly or anything. So you could try to do it with a back air if you want to. Can also be good. Has better range in back behind you, obviously. It might be better reward as well. Depends. And it also lets you act a bit sooner. You can even do a nair or another back air after you do a rising back air. So it's really flexible in that sense. Okay. I think you got it. So now we want to try to implement it in the way we talked about, right? Okay, one more time. Oh, you got it. That was good. You could do it even quicker. You saw that I kind of was hanging in the air for a bit. You could do it even quicker. Nice. Now we're talking. So ideally, you want to also land this nair just in case I keep shielding, right? So if you do this again, I'll show you what I mean. Ooh, I thought you were gonna wait. Okay. So this might happen, right? People might keep shielding. This happens all the time. So make sure that your nair is at least like doing something. If I do something silly on the ground, like you're putting pressure on the ground as well. If you do a back air, you can do another nair before you land like that. And if you do a rising nair, you can also fast fall it and hit me on the way down as well. So you can try it one more time. Ooh. There we go. Almost. So if I do something silly, you should be able to hit me. Like if I spot dodge or whiff a grounder move. You see there? I whiffed my grab. Try to also hit your nair in a way that will also hit me if I let go of shield. So maybe delay your nair ever so slightly and also make sure to fast fall.
Okay.
Because if I do this, if you stand still, you see I will not hit you right now. It looks like my... Oh, it actually did. But now I'll probably miss, you see? Because my nair is running like it running out of active frames. So it's very important to fast fall before it ends. Okay, one more time. I'm trying to grab you. Almost. We forgot to fast fall a bit too late. Oh, so close. One more time. Okay. One more time. That was a very hard spacing to get. But it happened because you were stuck in shield. It's hard for you to control your spacing when you're stuck in shield. Okay, now try to grab. Ooh, we almost had something cool there. One more time. There we go. And if you see that people whiff their grabs, spot dodge, push buttons below you, or short hop, then you could convert, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you're ready. Now you're recognizing the situation. And you know, if they're making a mistake below you, you can whiff punch them from above. And remember how Link's snare is usually the best when it's coming from above and landing on top of people? That's how you're going to get combos. That's how you're going to get tech chases. So this is very useful. So now you're practically denying my full hop by intercepting me if I jump with an air or back air. And you're also denying a lot of options on the ground as well. And if I keep shielding, if you space it right, it's still safe. It's still very hard to counter. So it's probably a lot to swallow at once, but you probably see the value in understanding this flowchart, right?
Yeah.
It gives you more control. It lets you have a plan for what to expect, and you will very rarely be overwhelmed. And you can add variations of this. You don't have to intercept them at the top like this. You can jump back and space something instead. You can set up a boomerang. You can disengage entirely. You can double jump. You can empty land. The list goes on. But it all starts with like knowing how your counters works against their counterplay. And of course, if you don't feel like you want to guess in that scenario, disengaging is completely fine. I would usually say short up away, roll away. Waiting for them to swing first and then getting out or punishing them is usually the way to go. So I think we can play normal for the next game. So what I'll do is that I'll remind you when this is relevant.
Okay.
I'm gonna show you like that was the situation. So in the future, you might be able to recognize them on your own. And I wouldn't worry too much about the execution. I just want you to try to recognize the situations where you can set up. And the flowchart when you're already applying pressure, what you can do from there. If we get time, we could also talk about something really interesting. And that is how to set up with projectiles to make this even more effective.
Okay.
And it's super fun. It's super good against Lil Mac as well, because he really struggles to get around bomb, because it forces him to jump. And you probably know that Lil Mac is not great in the air. But yeah, we can play at normal. And I'll remind you if it's relevant. So you see the cross-up I did there. I know where you're gonna land. Nice interception there, I like that. So I swing. Ooh, nice, okay. Close. Nice. Also, you don't only have frame advantage when I swing. You also have frame advantage when I try to land or when I get hit. So let's put it like this. Try to hit a spaced nair against me right now. Try to grab me. But just a weak nair. Just a weak
Okay.
falling nair into dash grab. Okay? One more time. You probably know what's gonna happen. Okay, one more time. Yeah. So I'm crouch canceling there as well. So I'm taking a little bit less knockback. So I'm kind of cheating. But what is basically happening is that you don't have enough frame advantage to get that follow-up. So what else can you do here? Do you remember what we could do when we had frame advantage? You could set up,
try,
right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, try doing a jab in that situation instead to catch a spot dodge.
Okay, you could try to jab. One more time. That actually worked because it was a true combo. What would be a better example? I can SD and go to SD. I can try to do it again. And I will be able to spot dodge your grab, but try to do the jab instead. Oh shit, I didn't need to shield it. So now you have a 50-50, and you probably know how I feel about 50-50s. We talked about like gambles just jumping in when they can get lucky and hit you. It's kind of like in that realm where it's a gamble and you don't need to take that gamble. So when you hit that nair on hit, it only hits like 12%. It's not that rewarding. But if you mess up, you might get F smashed or up beat out of shield. So the risk reward is kind of bad. And it probably loses to me jumping as well. Try to do the nair jab one more time. Okay, one more time. Yeah, just a little bit closer. So you see, I can even jump over it because the percent is so low. And I was also crouching, which kind of helps for me. So the coverage is pretty bad as well. So what else can you do?
You can
You
just
can set up, right?
yeah.
You could do another nair. It might sound silly, but it's actually awesome. Okay, try to do it nair into nair. Okay, almost. So try to like, and now you're aiming for the ground and then aiming for the top. Try to aim for the ground and then aim for the ground again. Okay. Okay, that was a rising nair. That's still pretty good. Try to delay it so you fast fall with it. Okay,
Yeah, nice.
almost. I can show it how it looks when I'm doing it. It's gonna look like this. Pretty much. Okay.
Oh, so you just want.
Yeah, just do the same thing twice. Pretty much. Okay, one more time. So it looks very silly, but it does something really important. Okay, one more time. So if you hit me, try to drift into me with the second one. So if I spot dodge, you will hit me. Okay. There we go. And now you get the combo. Now it's guaranteed. Because now you're landing the combo, you're ready for it, you see the spot dodge, then you know it's gonna work, right? You can follow up just as you please. And if you do it one more time, I'll show you what else it beats. Beats people swinging, right? Now you spaced into my sword, but you can hit my head instead. There, you see. So it beats people spot dodging, it beats people pressing buttons, which is very common. It will be safe if people roll because they will not be able to engage with you. You can even read it. And if they keep shielding, or they start shielding, you can space to work around it, right? You can do the slide cross-up like we talked about. You can space like we talked about. The options are heavily in your favor. And if I jump, you will hit me as well, because Nair has so much coverage. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you have slight frame advantage, even when you're hitting people, or when they're landing in tech chases, or stuck in whatever position they might be in, those are prime positions to set up again. So this might look silly, like this right here, but it's optimal. Like you can do this, but sometimes against good players, I literally do this 3 times in a row. Because I can't combo the first Nair. I'm covering with the second, I'm getting a tech chase on the third, and then I convert if I hit it.
Okay.
So you can always set up, especially if you're uncertain if things are gonna work. All right, let's keep going. Okay. Ooh, that was a good detection. Oh, you went through me. F smash. Okay. Thank you. No. Dirty tricks. Okay. So I'm putting out buttons preemptively. You can abuse this by letting me swing and then capitalizing on it. Remember, keep a safe range. Wait for me to swing. There we go. I couldn't do anything about that. Again, you're gonna win. You have frame advantage. I like how you're picking your spots a lot better. Like you're messing up slightly, but the idea is there. So there I'm setting up and waiting for you to swing the ground. Right there, you have to air dodge to the ledge, probably. The only counterplay. Nice. Also, when people are like jumping in on stage, you can set up so they can't do that. You can set up like a walling aerial or a landing aerial. I like that bomb lob. Be careful jumping when I can jump, because then you might lose. Let me swing first. Nice catch. So there I did a setup we talked about. Like I'm hitting a really strange nair and then try to cover options. Really nice cross up there. I like that. I swing. I swing.
Not what I wanted.
Yeah, yeah, that's a hard one to hit. Okay, I swing. Yeah, you rolled into me. Take advantage of it. Try to set up. It's really hard to whiff punish me, so think about me as like Ike. You don't want to try to put out the down tilt. It's super hard to do.
Yeah, I fished for down tilt a lot since the buff because I'm trying to get more consistent
Yeah,
with it.
it's really fun to get, and it can convert really hard. I would actually say I was kind of outside of the percent range. You had quite a bit of rage as well. But I think you're getting it. Like you're doing it when you're actively thinking about it. Like of course you get like kind of distracted sometimes, I guess, if you want to hit the down tilt or stuff like that. That's why I kind of recommend doing this in training mode, because then there's like gonna be no pressure of like wanting to win, wanting to land a clip, wanting to avoid getting clipped, or not losing, right? Those can actually really affect the practice you get, because then you're gonna go back to the flow chart you already have, right? The comfortable autopilot that you talked about. It's super hard to leave it at mind space if you're all the time trying to fight the urge to win, or to fight the urge to lose, or not lose, I should say. So training mode is good because you don't have to worry about those things. Like there's no one judging you. You can just focus entirely on implementing whatever you're trying to implement. I suppose you could do that in friendlies too. But if you find that distracting, and let's say you find the little Mac player too overwhelming to try this out in friendlies, that's why I recommend trying to do it with less resistance.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like you're getting it. So we're going to talk about projectiles for the last like at least 15 minutes, and then we can play some more. All right. So projectiles are a part of setup, right? It takes time to set up, but once you have them out, you have additional resources you can abuse. So what do you think about this situation? It's kind of unfair, right? Like I can detonate anytime, and you're privileged with a Hylian shield, so it doesn't hit you. But most characters, they have to respect you here. What else can I do from here? Unreactable dash grab, right? You can't know it's coming. And if you're shielding, it's a really messed up scenario. Yeah. One more time. If you roll in, I can react and grab you. If you jump, I can get lucky and just throw out an anti-air at the same time, or I can react if I'm really quick. So if you jump, one more time, I can intercept you as well. And you also have to land inevitably sometime. So if you do it again, jump, I can detonate as you land, and now you have a new problem. One more time, jump. Yeah, and now you can't shield anymore. So that forces you to jump away, jump into me, which is scary. And if you jump away, what happens? If you retreat. Control. Yeah, now I can set up again. Just do the same thing. So it seems very silly. But this is actually super important to know. And I feel like a lot of Link players, they'll do this. One of two things. They'll do this. This is what you did against me. You're giving up the pressure immediately. Like the counterplay is just holding L, and then you're good, or jumping away. And you might say, oh, but it's safe though, and it kinda is. But it's not about safety anymore. Like me doing this F tilt is also safe, but it doesn't really accomplish anything, right? And we talked about like abusing frame advantage. Like me just whiffing a move like this is bad because the opponent can set up a good situation in return. They can take stage control, they can set up a low aerial, they can maybe pull a projectile of their own, right? This is also what happens with bomb. It takes time to do. So detonating is actually a pretty big commitment. And it doesn't do that much damage. Like, I'm trying to hit you, but it's super hard. It does like 8%. Yeah, thank you. I think it does at least. Yeah, like 8.4, I believe, something like that. And that's not much. It does kill though, so when it starts killing, it's a little bit more understandable. And you can sometimes get like bomb combos, like you can bomb them like a doubles combo back and forth. And that's cool and all, but it's pretty circumstantial. What is way more valuable and consistent is the pressure of the bomb underneath your legs. And Lil Mac gets destroyed by this because he can't do anything. He can't jump. He doesn't have aerials, dude. If he picks up the bomb, boom, now we have a character with the worst moveset in the game. Like, he doesn't have a grab anymore. He has like the worst item. He can't do F-tilt. It's a bomb throw. He can't do up smash out of shield. You see what I mean? He's losing so many tools when people pick up the bomb. So then you can mash on them. You can do whatever you want. Your risk reward is a lot better because now they're lost almost their entire moveset to a projectile that is like 1% and doesn't combo. So I want you to try to do it against me. All right? I want you to pick up a bomb, soft throw it by pressing A. That's what I always recommend. If you smash throw it, it goes a bit too fast. If you do it one more time and smash throw it, you can smash throw it right now. It's going to remove the entire pressure immediately. But if you soft throw it, it's going to be more likely that I will have to respect it for a longer period of time. Right? It's the same reason why snakes, they have C4s on strategic spots on the stage. They can abuse it by detonating anytime. And by the way, detonation is unreactable, by the way. It's too fast. People have to read it if they have to defend themselves. Or pick it up or put themselves in a spot where they can't get it. So the first step is pulling the bomb at a safe range. So if you pull the bomb right there, I could actually react on Wi-Fi and with punish you, which goes to show it's not that safe at that range. So if you want to pull a projectile, I would do it in 2 ways, okay? First way is having distance, usually by jumping back and pulling. It's way harder to punish. If you try it right now, yeah, I can't punish that. Not happening. Not even, like, I would have to read it very specifically. So that's the first example. The second example is using frame advantage, again, like we talked about. So let's say I'm wasting time whiffing a walling aerial, right? So if you throw out a bomb and I'm missing this, you can set up a bomb pull. You see? I don't have time. So you can abuse time and space to set up this resource. Sometimes you have to do both because some characters are really fast and they have really low end lag and stuff. They throw out the neutral, like Sheik and Fox comes to mind, Falcon. And they don't have other projectiles. A very useful example I'll show to you is using the opponent's projectiles to pull your own projectile. So a good example is abusing platforms. So let's say you try to throw the bomb. Something I often do is I'll jump over the opponent's bomb and I'll pull my own. Okay? You can do it one more time. You can shoot an arrow or do that. It's actually pretty hard to do if you're not ready for it. So I often do this. They can't hit me with the arrow up there. And I'll just spend the time that I waste shooting the arrow to set up my future with my bomb, right? So those are the examples I would give on how to set it up. Time and space. Next step is getting into a position. So I would say around this range, soft throw is perfect because it doesn't go too far. And the cool thing about soft throwing, you probably played against Pikachu players who, if you pretend this is a T-jolt, they do like this, right? It's really annoying because you shield a projectile, which is you would think is the optimal counterplay, but then boom, you're getting grabbed at the same time. You could also do that, right?
Yeah.
You kind of launch the bomb slowly with an air. So that's what makes it so powerful, because you can pressure with 2 totally different options at the same time. Link isn't normally that fast, but now you suddenly have unreactable detonation and unreactable dash grab at the same time. And people have to respect both of them. The next thing is to cover their options and gather information. So we talked about how I didn't recommend like making reads on their jumps when they can also jump. The way I would say you can have an exception to this is if you can back this up with information. So I'll show you what I mean. I want you to pull the bomb at the safe range, soft throw it, and then get to roll distance, okay? You might have to walk, dash and then walk, or sort of forwards, whatever you prefer. I just want you to try it. Safe range, press A, and then go to roll distance. That now you're grabbing me, but that's good. But for now, I just want you to get to roll distance because you have a lot of pressure there. Right there. If I roll, can you grab me? Oh, barely. I would actually move a little bit closer because Link's roll is pretty far and you barely grab me. Bit closer, a little bit closer. There you go. Press grab as soon as you see the roll, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So grab is your punish on rolls. And the reason why I'm saying grabs is because when you're punishing rolls, you need all the frames you can get. It's pretty hard to react to rolls, especially on Wi-Fi, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're trying to use F-tilt to punish rolls, which many people try, you will not get it. You could try if you want to. Yeah, not even close. Even jab is going to be hard, depending on your reaction time and the connection. If you get really good at this, you can actually up-B people, but that's like the next level thing. That's like mostly offline or really good connections and when you're really confident. Otherwise, grab is the way to go because it's fast, beats shield, and spot dodge is not frame 1. So you have some leniency there. So now you have a situation where you can threaten them with immediate detonation at any time. If they roll into you, you get a free punish, and if they roll away, you can roll away right now. You can just set it up again, right? It takes almost no time to do. And if you roll away again, and now they're screwed, right? Now we're on the ledge. So it's kind of funny. Like, it's not that easy, but you probably see where this is going.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want you to try to set it up again. But now I want you to pay attention to the timing timing and option I'm doing after I'm stuck in this situation. So did you notice it? You can do it one more time. Okay, that was a bit too close. Try to set up from a range.
Okay, so you're
what am I
jumping
doing?
away, yeah.
What is my timing? Did you get it? One more time. Okay, try to set it up. Did you catch it? Right there, I don't have to respect you that much though. You're a bit far away. I want to be a bit closer where you can threaten my jump as well. So now, did you notice my timing? You know that I'm jumping. So what was my timing? Like roughly.
Let me see. After the second bounce?
Yeah, like after I see the situation and the bomb is like under me. Like how much time does it take? Like roughly.
About a second.
Second, yeah. And this timing is really important because there's like a psychological term called an OODA loop. It's a abbreviation for observe, orient, decide, act. It's basically like the mental process of realizing what situation you're in, orientating yourself, deciding what to do, and then acting. And then, of course, there's some input delay in Smash, which adds a little bit. And that pretty much results in 1 second. So this timing is very usual. And why do you think I don't roll into you? Why do you think I jump instead?
Because the safer option.
Yeah, because you're not in the air. If I'm rolling into you, that would be very stupid. Because you're standing there. And you already punished my roll like 4 times. So I'm going to do something else. And I don't want to shield anymore because you're so close to me that you can actually dash grab me and I can't react. I can try. Try to dash grab me right now. Oh, you just undershot the grab. One more time. Oh, well, you have it. You just have to grab a little bit later.
Yeah, it's just...
One more time. Just keep pulling forwards. Ooh. That would be cool if you got it. That would have worked in Smash 4. Yeah. So you could probably, I would say like offline dash grab burst range is around, if you stand still, I would say it's like here, right?
Okay.
It's still roll distance more or less. It's just a little bit closer. On Wi-Fi, it's like here. Like you can run for a couple of more frames to still get it. So what I'm saying is that I don't actually recommend you going for this grab generally because as we talked about, the reward isn't that big. It's like 10% with a couple of pummels and probably doesn't combo at most percents. Like after 40, it starts falling off. So it's mostly for positioning and the risk is pretty big, right? If I jump over you, which is I'm probably going to do, you're going to lose. So what can you do instead, which is as higher reward, does twice the percent, kills twice as early, and is twice as safe? That is to call out the jump, right? And now you know the timing I like to jump out of shield. So what I want you to do now is to do a dash, full up fair, and kind of fade back a little bit so you don't go too far overboard and lose stage like I did there. Okay, ready? Pull a bomb from a safe range. Oh, that's not safe. I'm gonna grab you. Okay, one more time. Okay, set it up. Nice, that is good. But try to not commit as hard with the fair. I try to cover the full up as well, so you have some leniency. Bonus points if you can kind of pull back to where you came from. That would be awesome. I was a bit early. Remember the 1 second? Just give me some time to see what's going on. Pretty good.
Yeah, 1 second.
You almost had it. You had it last time. Okay, one more time. Ooh, the timer went out. One more time. Almost. So I'll just separate the inputs. Just try to do this jump first. Like dash, jump in, and pull back. Just ignore the button itself. Yeah. So now you have the input completely down. Now you just have to add the C-stick. I recommend the C-stick, but you can use the A button if you prefer. So now you know the input for the drift and the dash. Almost. You just have to delay the C-stick or A a little bit more. Do you jump with a trigger or a C-stick?
I use the X button.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So you generally don't use the trigger?
No,
a bit
not
early.
really. That's why I said I can replace that one with special if I need to for weight balance.
Okay. I would actually recommend that, at least trying it. But yeah, let's try it a little bit more. Oh, you had the right timing, just the wrong aerial. Almost. You're getting close. Now we're talking. Now you're just a little bit more drift. You kind of want to catch me jumping up in place. Okay, set up. Oh, the timer. Okay. I'm scared. There we go. There you go. Now we're talking. This is how we're going to kill people. You're gathering information. You're covering really probable escape options. And you're also making them safe by pulling back. And your body language is really impactful here as well, right? When you're standing at roll distance, it would seem very stupid to roll into you. So I'm not going to do that. And since you're setting up the ledge trap or this small trap here over and over again, I can't dash back every time. If I pick up the bomb, I really nerf my moveset, and you can do whatever you want with me, unless they have like broken specials, like Game & Watch up B. Then you have to be a little bit careful. But even then, I would go crazy if they pick up the bomb. It's a really bad projectile. And if they aggress, you're waiting at roll distance, and you should be at least able to react to what they're doing, right? If they jump in with an air, we talked about how you can anti-air them, you can parry them, you can get out of there, you can defend yourself. So you're still in an advantage. If they don't respect your bomb, you can detonate every now and then, okay? Especially when it kills. And if they turtle up in shield forever, you can dash grab them. But there's one exception, and that is you don't want to dash grab them after they've been shielding for a long time. I don't know if you played Mario Party where there's like a bomb in the background and you have to like pull levers, and like for every lever that you pull, there's a bigger chance that the bomb is going to explode. Yeah, it's like hot potato, right? That's how people are in shield. It's the probability of them leaving shield increases the more time they spend in shield, because one, they're going to get shield poked or shield broken if they stay too long, and two, they're going to see the situation and what you're looking for, and they're going to try to escape it. So we talked about the 1 second rule. Why is that one so common? Because that's the time it takes to see the situation and deciding, right? And input delay. So I would say if you have to wait for the grab more than 1 second, I would say it's generally not worth it. So a way we could do it, if you shield my bomb here, I would grab immediately before 1 second passes, right? Or I would do this, pretend to grab and dash back again. This is something called a feint. This is something falling inside the setup category. It takes time to do, but it's useful for gathering information and making the opponent do mistakes. So the counterplay to people dash grabbing is rolling in, right? So try to roll in a reaction to my dash. Like, I can grab you for doing it, and I'm giving you a good reason to go for it. So that's like how the general flowchart of trapping people with bomb works, or projectiles. If you want, you can add in a returning boomerang above, which gives them another reason not to jump, because if they jump, they'll get comboed into fair by the returning boomerang. you can sometimes get a boomerang behind them like this, in which you can get guaranteed grabs if they keep shielding. If the shield's done, it's going to happen at the same time as the grab, and if they jump, you can kill them or catch their jump, and if they roll in, it's not going to help. They have to roll away pretty much or retreat. So the boomerang behind people is very similar. That's the reason why you see a lot of Link players, they kind of do this, and if people jump, they kind of throw a boomerang, and it doesn't seem to be hitting as much, but it helps in the future. Same with ledge traps. If I get you off stage, it's very common that people do this, because the returning boomerang is going to help me in the future, right? So if you keep hanging there, I can scoop you into the F-tilt, for example, forcing you to do something. I think it works like this. Yeah. So it's basically just giving you additional resource that the opponent has to respect, and if they do it, you can usually punish their way to avoid it, or combo off of it.
So slightly off topic, but since you brought up F-tilt there, where is the hitbox that hits either under ledge or past? Like, because I know sometimes I've been able to hit people with ledge hang with it. Is that just character dependent?
It's character dependent, yeah.
Okay.
If you're on the Link Discord, there's a resource there you can see exactly who you can hit. Like with F-tilt, down tilt, down smash. Down smash hits everyone, by the way.
Okay.
So if you know that it's gonna hit, then I would use down smash. Like in terms of time, if you know they have to re-grab ledge or whatever, down smash always works. Of course, bomb detonation also works all the time, and down angle boomerang, if spaced right, also hits. And yeah, of course, bomb C drops as well. So those are the options I would go for. But F-tilt does hit usually characters that have really stubby arms and big heads. After you're wanting to two-frame them. And you usually want to aim for their wrist, not their head, when they're already hanging on the ledge. Unless they have a huge head, like Mario or Wario, then you can hit them. But for the most part, like sword characters, they usually hang like this. You have to hit their wrist. So you have to go a little bit closer. There you go. You see? If you go a little bit closer, you'll probably miss. I'm a bit unsure.
Okay, yeah. So it's got to be that little, like, right before the tip of the sword.
Yeah. Like the kind of the curve of the sword. There you got the spacing, I think. Yeah. So down tilt is kind of the same spacing. I think this will work. No, it's a bit more precise. It's a bit farther away. Down smash is more forgiving, yes. And I think it kills at like 110%. So that's when it starts getting really valuable. But before that, it's kind of risky.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I know it was off topic. It's just I've run into some situations with ledge hang where I'm like, what do I do when somebody's just stalling ledge hang, but I don't have enough time to full bomb? Like a Kirby or a DDD, or not a DDD, a K roll that just likes to sit here and try to inhale.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying, and I'll give you a boring answer, and that is you actually don't have to do anything. Let's see what happens if I hang here for just 6 seconds. 3, 2, 1. There. So you can only hang on the ledge for 6 seconds, and if I re-grab, I'm screwed, because you can do whatever you want. You can down me, you can down smash me if you space it right? So you don't really have to do anything. That's usually what the opponent wants. They want you to charge that down smash or try to hit that down tilt or whatever. Then they get up attack you or rising aerial or just roll behind you. And now you're screwed or you lose stage control. So, and the same goes for shield. You don't have to hit people's shield. They have to let go at some moment, right? They can't shield break themselves, right? The exception is like on platforms. People can literally stand on platforms forever if they want to. So that's a different issue. That's where a bomb becomes handy, right? You can get a bomb in here. You can threaten with tomahawks. You can get a boomerang behind them. You can shock them from underneath. But yeah. So we've been talking about positioning in neutral. We have talking about how to find these opportunities you can take advantage of. And we've been talking about how you would execute like these approaches with these slight cross-up nairs, the mix-ups you have that have a unique counterplay with boomerang, way bounce boomerang if you learn it, timing mix-ups, or just disengaging, which is completely fine. And we talked about what happens with your backup plans if they shield your move. Like you can punish them if they try to punish you, and you can intercept them if they try to set up on you, you can chase them if they try to disengage, and if they really respect you, you can maybe get a grab or set up on them. So that's how it works, and optimally, you would actually want to try to set up and make your projectiles help you. Bomb is good. because it's a very flexible projectile. Set it up from a safe range, soft throw it, or do this. Do you know how to do this, by the way? It's easier from a full up. You basically do the seed up immediately, and then you fall on top of it with a weak hit of nair. So you have to kind of press the nair like above the bomb so you don't pick it up. Like you have to be like farther spaced away.
Okay.
So it's a bit tricky to do in the beginning, but it's gonna feel very natural to you. And it's gonna be pretty much a better version of the throw because it goes shorter. And it also has less lag. So you can chase the opponent while the bomb is approaching. Kind of like Pikachu does with T-Jolt. Kind of like Mario does with Fireball, right?
Mm-hmm.
Having projectiles like that is extremely powerful because people have to respect two things at the same time with unique counterplay. And Link is not really a character that can overwhelm. Like you talked about Little Mac being overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
Link is not really that character. It doesn't really have the frame data. It doesn't have the armor or the CQC options to contest people like that. But the bomb, if you can set it up, makes him really oppressive. You can get really creative with it as well. I sometimes do this. So if you shield it, you're screwed. If you parry it, doesn't matter. If you jump, you can try to jump over the bomb. If you get closer, try to jump. It's not going. Oh, we actually got it. It's very hard to do. As you can see, you'll probably get hit. It's really annoying to deal with. I could also jump back and detonate.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a really messed up scenario. You could also do this, and then now you have another scenario you can mess up some shields with. Now you have a rising aerial with a rising C-drop, and then a landing aerial which is -2. It's kind of screwed. Right? You can also do something like this. You can also set it into like really high reward options, like I don't know if you've seen like these combos.
Yeah,
before.
the footstools.
Yeah, it can be really. It's kind of hard to do.
I can
try
get
to
them
do
in
it.
training mode. I've never been able to hit them online in that. I've done it a couple times offline. But...
Yeah, usually you want to set it up from in there like this. And then you can combo it into a fair or a down air. Sometimes you have to pull back because of DI. And sometimes I literally just do the C-drop and footstool and jump back because I don't want to commit to the entire thing. Maybe the conditions aren't right. Yeah, like that. So it's very flexible, which is very cool. You could also decide to do kind of like what I talk about and not actually go for the detonation, actually go for the grab instead, like that.
Mm-hmm.
Happens really quickly. You can combine it with a C-drop double hit back air, which is like very annoying to deal with. You can get pretty creative with this. But the general principle is like you want to use options with unique counterplays, so people will not get like lucky by just mashing buttons or holding shield. So you can beat shield and buttons and get good reward. But we have talked about a lot of things today. So I think we can play normally for the remaining, I would say like 10 minutes.
Okay.
If you have any questions, ask away. And if something relevant to what we talked about happens, I will talk about it. We don't have to pause anymore. Unless, of course, you want to.
Okay. I guess, yeah, the only real thing other than getting it over is I guess if you see any other bad habits that I have, you could let me know.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'll let you know. But most of it has to do with what we talked about. It's you trying to force the issue by not looking at me. Like you kind of do what you want to do. And that is fine. But it kind of relies on me making mistakes. Like me jumping into you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I have noticed.
So if I'm waiting for you, I'm getting a big upper hand. So, and the same goes for like some commitments, like you're throwing and detonating preemptively, and jumping in and swinging afterwards, which sometimes works, but the risk reward isn't quite there. A little scramble there. Okay, nice now. Ooh, good punch. That was a really good timing in the damage. Very overcommitted a bit. Now you're off stage. So I would just go for the ledge at the point there. A little bit good punch. So remember what you could do with the bomb. Remember? Try to set it up. Okay, that's still good, but you can get even more. Okay, did you see something there? Hold on. Get me in the corner. I'm scared. Almost, you had the right idea. So see what I did there? I'm setting up my landing fair to cover your landing if you air dodge or push buttons. Now I'm calling the roll. Just in case you do. covering the platform. Just like this. Timing mix-up with multi-hit side of the platform.
Oh,
I do that sometimes too. It's okay. So there you're also giving up the pressure with the detonation. It wouldn't really do anything if you got it, so I would not detonate there. Ooh, good nair. Don't detonate. Because now it's so obvious. Okay, one more time. Soft throw the bomb and that run up shield. Okay, one more time. Okay, and then run up shield to neutral get up distance. Like one more time. And then grab me. Okay. Because it's so obvious I'm gonna neutral get up. Because it's like the one invincible option that is like super easy to time. Okay. And then grab my neutral get up. Now we're talking. Now you're using projectiles to condition me to do specific get-ups, right? Love to see it. So you're also kind of vulnerable to timing mix-ups. So sometimes I just double jump in front of you, and then you grab me anyway, or try to. Ooh, good boomerang, but you didn't believe. See what I did there? Got a weird nair, set up another one. Nice.
oh, did not want it.
Yeah, I think you tried a boomerang.
I did.
Almost had a dodge. That is very risky. You barely got it, so you're alive. There also wouldn't detonate unless you're certain it's gonna work. I'm glad you didn't detonate, that's good. Well, bit risky bomb pull. That is guaranteed, so that's fine. Ooh. That's mine. Good drift. Okay, good air dodge. Ooh, good. Oh, you shield pump. Nice, really good anti. You're fine. Bread and butter. Oh, they didn't get reverse.
Yeah.
Parry. I also don't recommend rising nair in scrambles because it's really hard to hit unless they're really tall and you're running into them, which is also a risk in itself. Nice. So that's a scenario where you're jumping in when I'm waiting, and it's very easy for me to parry you or anti-air you like that. You see? So now you have to be a little bit more clever. What can you do when people are anti-airing you? Yeah, you can set up, for example, but it's easy for me to block that. Okay, that's better. Try to do something with it. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's easy for me to avoid if you detonate, unless it's guaranteed. Ooh, nice. Way bounce. Yeah, that kills very early.
And I didn't
That's a
think you
true
were gonna...
combo you can do, by the way.
Yeah, I
It's really
always
strong.
miss the reaction, and the hesitation usually costs me the combo.
Yeah, it's about recognizing the scenario. So when I see you at the corner there, and I think you might put yourself in a spot where I can punish you with a landing there, I'm looking for that specifically. Like, I'm really trying to look for it. It's all about experience, but you have to try to find that experience. If you always go for the same options, you'll only get experience with what you're already familiar with. So it's important to try to push yourself and explore new options. And that usually only happens when you're aware. So we talked about autopilot not being a bad thing. Autopilot is really bad for learning new things because you're literally using a flowchart that you already have in your fingers. So you grab. You're down to it. See what I did there? I'm setting up when you're landing all the time. Or at least. Again, setting up when you're landing. So I'm using the frame advantage all the time. Oh shit. Maybe I shouldn't be detonating. Ooh. Oh, sorry. Not to do it.
It's okay.
forgive me. Thank you. Really good sharking. A bit too much. Ooh, but I missed. So you're fine. There, you're an awkward spot and I can abuse it. I'm glad you didn't grab. That's good. Okay, I'm setting up. Never mind, you didn't let it happen. Nice. I like the idea, but a bit too much. I would rather... are you familiar with what feints mean?
You're talking about like a fake out, essentially.
Yeah, like pretending to go for something than actually not doing it. So that's also something you seem to not be using as much. And that is very apparent when you're edge guarding. You're often deciding beforehand, I'm gonna do this edge guard in the next 2 seconds. Like you have decided, that's what I'm gonna do. And it's not a bad guess. Like I agree, like it would work. It covers a useful airspace that many people would recover. The problem is that it's reactable, right? So we talked about body language earlier, right? So we talked about that waiting at this distance makes rolling a really stupid option. And that is because you're literally standing there. You're literally waiting for the roll, right? So it's not that, how should I put it, tempting for me to roll in. Or maybe it is, but it's not a good idea. And good players still usually recognize it. So what happens if you're standing on the very ledge here? What do you think I'm waiting for?
To go
You're
low.
standing at the very ledge. Yeah, you're looking for a run off something, right? It's more apparent for like Falcon players, like run off down there, and Yoshi run off forward there, like the spikes, you know. But Links are also really to blame for doing this. So how can you pretend to do this but not actually doing it? Exactly, right? You can run off and double jump back on. So what do you think I will do to avoid your run off nair? I'll probably do something stupid, right? I'll probably do a mix-up. And you can bait it. So try to do it right now. Oh shit, and now I'm going high. And that high recovery is not safe. But you can punish it even harder if you're on stage. So try to do this and double jump back on. Okay. Oh shit, now I have to go high. And now you hard punish me with a rising fair. Almost. One more time. Oh shit. F smash. So you have to adjust a little bit. It's not always the same punish. You have to see the range on it. Okay, that was a bit too early. Remember to do the feint when it's like appropriate. It's believable. Okay, that's good. Then you have smash me. You can do forward there too. It's easier to have smash, I would say. Roughly. So that's very clear, very apparent when you're edge guarding, but it also applies on the ledge. So if you're ledge trapping me and waiting at roll distance, this is something we could do in a future lesson, by the way. You don't need a bomb for this, actually. It can be kind of distracting. So what I want you to do is to run up and dash back again. So a very common strategy to beat the ledge traps is to wait for them to change position. Waiting here and shield, or just waiting in general here, is weak to people rolling behind them. So you can bait the roll and dash back again. Punish the roll. Let's say when an FB, let's say when an F tilt or grab, like we talked about.
Okay.
Same goes for neutral. You can pretend to dash grab them and dash back again. A lot of people will roll. And if they don't, that's useful information, right? For the future. We talked about getting more information so you can back up your reads. This is how you're getting it for the most part. Using small commitment, looking what they do when they're under pressure, and when they're having to respond to feints, or if they respond at all. Some people don't care about feints. Some people don't look at the opponent at all. So that could be something as well.
Okay.
A lot of information, but we can keep playing. All right. So there, I kind of liked the nair, but the spacing wasn't right, so we didn't get away with it. Ooh, nice high recovery. I don't know if you saw what I was doing there. I saw your dash and I set up. So in case you ran off, I'm gonna have a low aerial that is gonna cover your runoff if you drift into me. So what do you think would be the counterplay there?
Forgot what the term is, where you kind of slide with the air dodge back towards the opposite direction.
Or like a waveland.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good. You wouldn't really do anything against me. Then I would get away with it, which is not necessarily like a bad thing. At least you would survive. I would say it's an improvement. But you could do this same effect with a wave bounce, right? So a very common habit against like every player in the game is doing this runoff area. And it's really good because we talked about setup has a weakness, right? And that it requires time. Like me setting up a low nair takes time. It takes like half a second to do, right? But if I'm already on the apex of my jump on a platform, it takes like quarter of a second to do because I'm only doing the falling part. You see? So that's why it's so popular. That's why it's so strong, especially for like Chrom and Wolf, who has like a long range and high reward on their falling forward airs and a lot of range. So that's where Waybound's Boomerang is really useful because you're shifting your hurtbox away, giving them a different timing to parry if they're parrying it or trying to whiff punish you. And you're also getting down to the ground, which I would say for Link is a stronger position for the most part.
So is it the same inputs as a regular wave bounce? So like
yeah, I would say
behind
so.
me and then
So you
forward.
run. Yeah, that's it. I'll try to do it. I'm a little bit worse when it comes to, yeah, I'm getting the arrow sometimes too. So this is something I would practice. I'm gonna probably send you a video of a method that I like to do.
Okay.
And you said you're not really using the jump trigger anyway, then you might as well give it a shot. Maybe it resonates with you. For me, it literally clicked immediately as soon as I get used to it, and then I never mess up my way bounces pretty much ever, unless I'm like switching controllers or I'm cold my fingers. And that consistency gives you confidence in bracket, right? You're not messing up. You're gonna be confident that the boomerang is gonna hit, right? You're gonna be confident in your movement. Oh, that was good. That was good. But of course, there's a notorious I wouldn't say mistake. It's like a bad habit amongst Link players, me included, that I literally only wave bounce. I don't do normal boomerangs anymore. So this boomerang I almost never do, even though it's really good. And I almost never do this one, which is also really strong because it combos better. If I always wave bounce, I'm gonna be farther away from you. It's gonna be harder to combo. If I always wave bounce back in, I will get hit by random shit that I need to get hit by. So make sure to only use it when the situation calls for it. And the biggest one, as we talked about, is the feint. So this one is the fun one. This is the fun one, not combos. And it's really cool, but it's really risky. It's like, it requires a read to get it. But the one that is really effective, yeah, you struggle with that one. That is completely fine. It's also a read, right? That is the fun one. The boring one, but the most useful one is this one. Because you're actually using a feint in your movement and also with punishing people for trying to anti-air you. You almost had it there. Almost. Yeah, you got the beavers, but you didn't get the boomerang. Almost. You can probably get it once. Almost. You're getting it in reverse, so you're missing the turnaround in the end. It's a bit hard to do. But it's kind of funny you got it with arrow. It's harder with arrow than boomerang. Yeah, there we go. So you see, you get the effect. That said, it's not that apparent with short hops because we talked about like being in the short hop airspace is you're kind of vulnerable to just people just swinging, just pressing buttons. So you're not really escaping that scenario. And you're also not giving me enough time to really anti-air you. Okay, there you got it. So now, when you're full hopping, you're giving me time to see your full hop, and I'm gonna get time to see, oh, what is going on? Okay, he's full hopping, I'm gonna anti-air him, and you're giving me a reason to anti-air.
Okay.
If you're short hop wave bouncing, it's still kind of good, but it's more circumstantial. But usually better with that. It's really good as a plan B as well. So sometimes you want to approach and then you're like, oh, screw this, I'm gonna wave bounce. So it's really good if you try to decide your decision as late as possible. A cool thing about Boomerang 2 is that you can angle it one frame before you let go of the Boomerang. So you can like literally, if you just jump in place continuously, like full up, full up, full up, full up. Like there, okay, there I got it. And there I'm angling it up on reaction to your jump. So you can change the angle of your boomerang just right before you let go. So you don't have to decide when you throw it, you can decide when you let go, which gives you time to whiff punish things. It gives you time to stuff out jumps, like there. Sometimes you have to predict it, and sometimes you just want to cover something else. Like there, awesome. Really useful. But yeah, we can play normally for the rest of the game. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask, of course.
Okay.
And if you can't think of anything today or right now, you can just ask me anytime in DMs.
Okay.
Absolutely no problem. And you said you were streaming. If anyone is wondering in the chat as well, of course, just reach out. JforJonas on Twitter.
Okay. Yeah, I know the main question they were asking was like, what do you think Link's worst matchup is? Stuff like that. And I was like, yeah.
Oh, it's hard to say. People say like Greninja, people say Snake, people say Mythra. Probably all of them. For different reasons. I feel like Snake is fine for me personally, but I feel like Mythra is really oppressive. But some people say that's like borderline even in Palo as well. And then you have like Orange, like a Canadian Link, probably one of the best in the world. He like messes up like the best or second best Greninja in the world, JW. So it's really personal. But generally, fast sword characters with oppressive neutrals, or really low profiles like Pikachu and Greninja. That would be like the main thing. But people say everything. People say Game & Watch.
Yeah, I know. Personally, I think because I'm doing after this, we're doing a matchup chart for my own thing, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be having some controversial takes. I'm not good against Yoshi. I know people say Lucina
Yoshi's
is
weird.
like a lot of people say Lucina is a hard matchup for Link, but I don't usually have a problem with Lucina's.
I think it's a hard matchup for Lucina. Not in like potential, but in like practice. Like it's hard to like avoid projectiles with a floaty big character. Right? It's very easy to hit with Boomerang and just snuff her out in the air. Oh, the timing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very common that people disagree. But Yoshi, I know Flash plays again. He doesn't like Yoshi at all. But that's probably because there's like a very good Yoshi in his region.
Pyra and Mythra, I can see being a big issue. Honestly, I struggle a little bit with Byleth. Too.
Yeah, that's interesting. But I can maybe see it. Like Byleth kind of does the same thing as Link, but with like better range.
I think that's
better nair for CQC.
For me anyway. Biggest things I struggle with.
I will say, yeah, if you struggle with like Byleth because of his nair, it's a lot easier to deal with offline. And it's still hard to punish, I guess, but it's definitely manageable. I feel like that's like usually what people say when they say like the matchup is like very hard. But I'm very surprised how Leo manages to be consistent with that character. It's really impressive. But maybe Byleth is really good. That was a very interesting option.
It wasn't what I was supposed to do.
It looked cool anyway. See, I'm covering the roll with a Boomerang. Slight cross up, I react to the hit. Feint, like we talked about. Now I see that you're air dodged when I got you off stage. Ooh, good Boomerang, that was really good. Looks familiar.
Did not expect that.
That was a slight cross up, right? Don't do it.
Yeah.
So sometimes waiting in shield for like 4 seconds is the way to go. Like Link has a privileged up the edge shield. Can hit a lot of people with it. Okay, good. So when you're wasting time like pulling bomb and throwing, I could get to the platform for free. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Nice. Right here, you gave me a free time to get to the platform. So make sure that you try to leverage your time as well as possible. Okay, you got it. I was about to say, when I'm waiting as much as I do there, you should consider setting up. Don't do it. I'm an advantage there. It's really hard to get grabs when I have advantage.
Oh, does that extend from the boomerang?
Yeah, Link extends his arm. It's kind of annoying, but it also makes him better because you're pushing people away and hitting shield. You're fine. So I don't know if you saw what you did there. With punish with spot dodge. You tend to spot dodge a little bit panicky sometimes. I don't usually grab that much, so you're instinctively spot dodging, and then also usually buffering up tilt or down tilt afterwards, which can be hurting your options.
I couldn't remember if that was my bomb or yours.
Yeah, exactly right. That was a good So what did I do there? I set up my positioning to handle the roll, just in case. Good parry, that's hard. I like that you don't detonate, I like that a lot. What else can you do with it? You can move the bomb closer to me, right? Nice. So that is a bit obvious, so I can get up for free. What you can do is pretend to go off stage, then make people go high, and then punish them for doing it. But I like that you're going high, it shows that you're paying attention to me, but you can also abuse it. So when you're running off with Nair, you're deciding a little bit early that you want to do it. I would sometimes pretend to do it.
Okay.
Make people try to work around it. But it's a good first step. And I like edge guarding with Nair. It's really good. I should do it more as well. Okay. This will be the last one. And of course, any questions? So,
Okay, yeah, I'm trying to think of them as we play, but
it's hard, right?
yeah.
You'll probably like remember some things like after this, and it's completely fine. You can just ask anytime. Don't worry about it. I will answer when I'm capable. That's okay. Remember the most important part, and that is to cover the roll, just in case. If you miss the roll, I can roll in for free and take stage control. Gotta get lucky. I thought it would hit. Spacing there wasn't on point, so I can get a grab. Careful drifting in when I'm waiting, then I can just wait.
Too far back.
I like that you try to get like a drift. It's really hard though. It would work in Smash 4. So when I'm waiting like this, try to set up something that will help you in the future. Like when I'm playing really defensive, yeah, now we're talking. And also be ready for the roll, first and foremost, and then take it from there. Okay. Like I'm playing really campy, I have the lead, I'm gonna abuse it. Try to, okay, good. Cover the roll. One more time. Remember how to cover the roll? Positioning is key. Just press grab. Okay, you got the read, but that's a read, remember? Try to cover on reaction. There we go. Now you don't have to guess anymore. Most people do different things when they get punished, so you should be ready for the jump next time. Some people never learn, but it's exception. Ooh, I get lucky there. Don't know. Good punish. There, I ran off because I wanted the combo. Right? Feint. Coming the roll. Coming the jump. Oh, that was good. Careful jumping when I can also jump. It's a trick you can do. You can crouch at like roll distance, and then you can still punish get up attacks for the most part. Sometimes people get lucky and hit the bomb into you.
That's what I was
But it's inconsistent.
trying to do, but I didn't.
Yeah, you have to time it like very specifically. So I wouldn't even go for it. Try to bomb ledge trap me right now, and I'll show you what I'll do. Okay, and one more time. You have to like make it sure it doesn't hit my hands. Try to down throw it or something. One more time, or C drop it a little bit higher, so get some time. I literally just ledge jump for the most part.
Okay.
I actually ledge jump into it on purpose. So what I'll do is I'll just jump into it on purpose. What is gonna happen is I'm gonna fall down again. I can re-grab ledge with invincibility. So that's the counterplay to bomb for the most part. If you can stall, that's good. If you can set up something projectile thing that you can interrupt the person who is setting up, that's also good before you recover. Just be
Okay.
careful. Just a heads up. good disengage. Ooh, that was weird. Good roll. Ooh, we got something weird there. You see, I do setup into setup. So be careful of doing like rising aerials and tilts after you roll. Because then people are usually ready for those mix-ups. Oh, that was cool. No, I'll see.
That's not what it's supposed to be, but
That was really cool though. Like if you made that back, that would be like so swag.
yeah, I was like, oh, boomerang.
Jumping in, way bouncing back. That was sick. Sadly, that's how it's gonna end, but I thought it looked kind of cool. That's a cool way to go. I'll do that in bracket when it's looking kind of grim and I can't win. I'll just move into my blast zone.
All right. Well,
Awesome. But a lot of information today. I can send you some notes regarding how to find openings and shield pressure, how it works.
okay.
I can also send you like a brief notes on like setting up like these traps with bomb in particular, so you have something to work on. And remember, when working on this, if you find it overwhelming to do in practice against like real people, especially good players, try it in a different environment where it's less pressure, so you can focus and actually learn. And of course, ask me if anything is unclear. I would be happy to help anytime.
So just for my own information, so say I want to practice it offline, but I don't want to training mode. Which PC or CPU level do you find is the best for that? I know some people say level 9s aren't good because they kind of read your inputs almost.
I've heard people say different levels depending on what you want to do, but I'll just say level 7.
Okay.
Like they will not parry everything, but they will still like tech for most of the time and mix it up. But they will also mess up some techs every now and then. So they're like kind of human and defensive options, and they're also going to give you some resistance. But you could also go like lower than this. Let's say you're trying to react to whiffs, like we talk about. Maybe even level 3, maybe even level 5, right? It gives you more time to recognize situations.
Okay.
The higher level CPUs, they play a little bit faster, so it can be overwhelming there too if you find it hard to see what's going on. So it's completely up to you, but I would generally say not above 7.
I'll try to.
7 is
I
fine.
mean, preferably more people, but if I'm not able.
Yeah, and of course, sometimes it's better at doing training mode because it's just a more controlled environment. Like when I'm practicing guitar, I'm a musician as well. I'm not practicing like on stage. Like, I'm not practicing only on rehearsals. I'm practicing a lot in my room because if there's something I can practice and get better at in terms of execution and by myself, I'll rather not like waste someone else's time in like the studio or live on stage trying to learn things or messing around and warming up. I would rather want to be prepared when that's the case.
Okay.
Smash is a little bit different, of course. Though.
Yeah.
But, there's some carryover
No,
knowledge.
that makes sense.
Awesome. But it was fun. I feel like you picked up like most of the things we talked about. It's just a lot of information, so it's hard for you to remember it all, which is understandable. But you managed to execute everything we talked about, which is pretty impressive. Like some people really struggle with the nair spacing, like we talked about, and the reaction, for example. So that's awesome to see.
I don't know. I appreciate it.
All right, awesome. Then I'll gotta go, but you can have a nice evening. It's almost midnight over here. I don't know what the time is over there.
It's about 3 p.m.,
noon.
but
Really? It's that early?
yeah.
That's crazy how time zones work. But
Yeah. Well,
I'll send you the notes probably in like half an hour or so, and then you can just ask me anytime if anything is unclear. All right?
well, thank you, Jay.
Awesome. All right. See you, man.
Bye.
Have a good one.
You too. All right. I will probably do the matchup chart in a bit. For now, I'm going to take a break and get some food.